Now, moving on to the actual reality here, the multi-party system in India we have the multi-party system from the initial days onwards. But the fact is that the other parties could not get the maximum number of seats which are required for them. As it is in the other countries like in China, Nigeria, or in African countries or Indonesia, where the other opposition parties were crushed, were stopped, were not allowed to contest. That is the case with the other nations. But in comes to India, the case is different. They are allowed to participate, they are allowed to contest, they are allowed to win. The situation is that they are not winning here. The only party which is getting dominated is the Congress. Now, this is the major feature of the initial period up to 1967. The another major task which came challenging for the first government is that the states division, reorganization of states. How can a state be reorganized? What are the possibilities? How did the demand come up for us? See, earlier when the Britishers were ruling us, the entire nation was divided into provinces, and we have nearly 11 provinces, and the other regions are the princely states. They were not in the union here now. So in these 11 princely states, we have the Bombay Presidency, we have the Madras Presidency, we have the Kolkata Presidency, we have the Central Province, we have the Berar Province. All these provinces together we have. Now the demand has been increased in such a way that the people started to ask them, like, we need to have a separate state for our region people. Now the demand for Karnataka state has increased. The Karnataka region people started to ask that we need all the Kannada speaking people together. Then comes the Tamil Nadu people. They have started asking that all the Tamil speaking people. We have the Andhra, the most famous revolt of forming a separate state or asking for a separate state, that the entire Andhra region should be, especially all the Telugu speaking people should be together. So we can understand the clarity here that people started to ask the reorganization of the states on the basis of language. So now, the first Prime Minister of India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, was in a view that it would not be the right time to divide the states at this point of time. According to him, he is having various issues to be addressed. He has the political issues, he has the economic issues, he has social issues, and he also has the financial issues to be addressed. So according to him, language would not be the right option to determine which region and which place should be belong to, or language should not be the basis to rearrange the states and organization of the states. This is his personal point of view. So he was sticking up on this point for many years, but finally he has to agree for the reorganization of the states. What happened finally? Which states were formed? What made them to form the states? What are the decisions taken? Who supported them? How did the technicalities were taken by the central government? How did the technicalities were proven by the reports? Which committee gave the report? When was the committee appointed? How many days it took for the committee to appoint the report? These all things we shall discuss now. So the final task of States Reorganization Act was brought. What is the background of this? We have a person named called Mr. Potti Sriramulu, who was a key person in formation of AP state. He did fasting for 58 days. After doing fasting for 58 days, he sacrificed his life for the formation of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Now, as soon as he fasted and he went to his death, they did not create the Andhra Pradesh state. But in August 1953, the States Reorganization Committee was appointed, and the main members of the States Reorganization Committee was Fazal Ali, the Fazal Ali senior most member, then Panikkar and Kanzru were the key members who went to the ground realities and studied the facts, like, is it necessary for us to create a state on the basis of a language? Is language should be taken as a criteria and divide the states, because Jawaharlal Nehru was in a view that if India is at present right now in a position of getting consolidated itself, and there should not be any contrast of divisions, or there should not be any particular subdivisions basing especially on languages. He is not against the view of dividing a state on the basis of languages, but he was scared or afraid of the point of view that if we divide the nation in the form of language division, so it may further lead into the weakening of the nation. This is the view expressed by Jawaharlal Nehru. So when the reports came by the second States Reorganization Committee, then they finally submitted its reports stating that language would be a best option to divide the states because it is binding the people through that particular language. So the nationalism also can survive by giving independent autonomy for the particular states. This is the basic view expressed, and basing on the reports of this, they have created 14 states and 6 union territories. They have considered 14 states and 6 union territories. In that, Andhra and Tamil language speaking people like Telugu and Tamil speaking language people are more the dominant people, and Potti Sriramulu's sacrifice was never went in vague, and it was proved to be the formation of the Andhra Pradesh state very soon after his death in 1956. The two major languages which are not taken into consideration, the tribal language, one is Gondi, the other one is Santali. The Gondi and the Santali were not taken into consideration for the formation of the states, remaining the entire thing was taken into consideration and was proven to be the Andhra state region, and they have expressed their views of a separate states on the basis of the languages would be a right option to create. So the union government came up with the steps of 14 states to be recreated. Now from this example we can get a clarity that the popular will or the people's will made the leaders to change their mindset. Initially Jawaharlal Nehru was not willing to divide the states on the basis of languages, but the popular interest of the people made him to come down. The victory was the people's, not the leaders. The people's view was taken as a triumph and declared states. The states were reorganized. 14 new states were created on the basis of the language. This is the first point where the people of India has achieved their success or in the true democratic spirit. Let us see what happened next.